Magneto has been around since the early days of Marvel, which means he's got quite the history. Grab a snack and your water bottle, we are in this together. Okay, so Magneto is born Max Eisenhart. He is Jewish, and this next point is very important. It informs almost every choice he makes in his life. He was born during the Second World War in Germany. He wasn't treated well in school, but he did develop a crush on a girl named Magda. His family relocated to Poland, but that wasn't safe for long, and Max ended up in a camp. Well, there he had to see his friends get experimented on, along with all the other horrors, so he's not doing well. There was literally only one good thing that came out of the entire situation. Max found Magda again, and the pair were able to escape together. They fell in love, got married, and then had a kid. It was looking up for our guy, which is why it all literally came crashing down shortly after. In the span of one day, he discovered his mutant power of magnetism, watched his daughter take a one-way trip to the ground while he was held down by soldiers, then eliminated said soldiers using his new powers, which scared his wife so bad she literally ran away from him, tried to lay his daughter to rest, but then was attacked again by soldiers. Magda was unknowingly pregnant with twins when she ran. For a long time, it was established that those twins were Wanda and Pietro, but that's been retconned. They are not his kids. More on that later. Max wanted to search for his wife, so he took on a new name, Eric Lensher. He found out she passed away, so he added Magnus to his middle name. He moved to Israel and started volunteering in a psychiatric hospital. This decision was going to change his life forever, because in that very same hospital was Charles Xavier. At this point, being a mutant was a very bad thing, so the pair would be getting in debates with each other about mutants on Earth, not knowing the other was just like them. It was through their debates that we get a glimpse into what the conflict between these two is going to be. Charles sees the idea humans and mutants can exist together peacefully, but Eric, with his dark past, doesn't think that. He is in the boat of humanity will not let mutants rest, and they haven't let him rest ever, so I see where he's coming from. Eric realizes that he and Charles just aren't going to find a middle ground, so he leaves. The next thing our guy does is actually pretty heroic. He uses his powers to track down Yahtzee with an N war criminals. He is supposed to give the criminals to the government that sent him out, but instead he's giving them to Israel for trial. For most part, no one really cares until it's someone they care about. When Magnus tries to give over someone they actually wanted, Magnus's agency decides to end his girlfriend at the time. In front of him. He doesn't take that well, then ending the people who did that to his girl. Now Magnus really doesn't believe in human kindness anymore and takes up his most famous name, Magneto. Magneto goes away for a bit to regroup, then eventually heads to Brooklyn, New York to gather up mutants for his campaign against humans. To move undetected, we have another name change. Magneto is now going by Michael Xavier, but only on his passports and documents. To his few friends, he is still either Magnus or Eric. His famous red and purple ensemble is courtesy of Cassandra Michaels. Magneto wanted to fit in with all the other heroes and villains of the Earth. If everyone else has a fun little outfit, he should get one too. Well, on a date with Cassandra, the pair are attacked by a monster. This fight is important because it's the first time he ever wore his iconic costume, but he also briefly considered the notion of being a hero. Magneto had an affair with a married woman shortly after, Susanna, which resulted in a child, Lorna, later Polaris. Susanna hid the child's actual father from her husband Arnold. Arnold decided to confront Susanna about her infidelity on a plane with their daughter present. Lorna didn't take the fighting very well, and her powers accidentally crashed the plane. Her parents didn't make it. She created a magnetic pulse so big that Magneto was drawn to it and found her. But the life he led wasn't for a child, so he got her memories rewritten, and then we don't see her for a while. A lot later, after the plane crash, Magneto returns, but this time with a fancy helmet. It's designed to be like a telepathy shield. It also looks great. He also spent his time away building an orbital asteroid M. It was to be the home to him and his Brotherhood of evil mutants. He got a few mutants on the team, but most notably he recruited his maybe not kids, Wanda and Pietro. He didn't know that these two were possibly his kids when he recruited them. Wanda and Pietro didn't want to be there, but they felt they owed Magneto because he saved their lives. At this point in his journey, Magneto is almost certifiably insane. Turns out the more he uses and abuses his powers, the more insane he becomes. It probably took a lot to build Asteroid M. Okay, the X-Men and the Brotherhood. Magneto tries to take over humanity a few different ways. He is beaten by the X-Men each time. Frustrated, he kidnapped the X-Men Angel, and then in the fight to get Angel back, Asteroid M was destroyed. The X-Men escape with Angel in an escape pod, but after the X-Men reach the Earth, the pod goes back up. Magneto is able to use his power to pull the pod up from Earth. Powerful dude. And then it's presumed the Brotherhood make it out, land somewhere on Earth. Later, there was a brief moment where Magneto fought with an evolutionary, but no one remembers because when the evolutionary left, he erased everyone's memories. So that means Magneto is left more insane and angry than when he started, and he doesn't know why. Magneto is now trying to recruit Brotherhood members. He was captured by someone called Stranger. He is an alien scientist that Magneto wanted to recruit. Magneto's disappearance left an opening for Wanda and Pietro to join the Avengers. That's the end of that Brotherhood. Gone. Magneto doesn't like being captured and escapes, recaptured, returned to Earth again. When he gets back, this is important, he takes Wanda and Pietro with him to the United Nations and demands that mutants get their own country. He still doesn't believe it's safe for mutants in the regular world. The twins send for the X-Men come and get them, and Magneto ends up in some water, left to drown, but he uses his powers to burrow through the Earth. He ends up burrowing far enough that he finds something called the Savage Land, a powerful place that he set off to rule. His rule didn't last long, the X-Men took him out. Later, he found a bunch of alien equipment that he used to create Alpha, the ultimate mutant. This Alpha guy rebelled against Magneto and turned him into a baby! Baby Magneto. Everyone just kind of hoped that they could re-raise Magneto to be a better person. He's just a baby. Not for long, he was turned back, but younger than before the baby curse, so now he's young again. More fights with the X-Men, then he makes a new evil Brotherhood, the new evil squad fails a mission, and Magneto abandons them. Moving on, Magneto decides that he wants to end the nuclear arms race by taking over every government in the world. He really gives it his all, but when he ends a mutant kid, he reflects on his life and how this was never his plan. His remorse calls him to abandon his world conquest. In this window of Magneto maybe thinking of abandoning evil, Professor X approaches with Moira McTaggart. She gets reborn every time she dies, and when that happens, she can reset the timeline. She sees Magneto fail over and over again, so Professor X goes to him with this info and basically says, on our own we always fail, but together we can actually make a mutant-safe world. Magneto, on board. So now he's like good guy adjacent. Professor X gets kidnapped and hooked up to a machine that would use his telepathy to end all living mutants. Magneto helps save the day by distracting the professor while the X-Men destroy the machine, but then when it's all over, they once again are not seeing eye to eye and part ways. Magneto later appeared as a participant in the Secret Wars. Secret Wars was a third party basically stealing a bunch of heroes and villains to fight each other to win a prize. The entire thing was weird enough to make Magneto reflect on the similarities between mutants and mankind, a feat for him. He seduced the Wasp at one point, helped the X-Men battle Galactus, everybody died, everyone's brought back to life, the heroes prevailed, Magneto is now on the good side, then Mr. Fantastic beams everybody back to Earth, Magneto to Asteroid M. Asteroid M is now at version 2. Asteroid M is destroyed again. Right around this time, the Mutant Registration Act was passed, and now it is illegal to be an unregistered mutant. The thing that made Secret Wars was the Beyonder. When Magneto senses that he's coming back, he allies himself with the X-Men again. During this time, Magneto visits a memorial site and is attacked there by Freedom Force. He gives up to trial by the World Court. Do you know what you have to do to go to trial in front of the World Court? Trial is interrupted and Professor X is badly injured to the point where he can't run the school for gifted youngsters. Magneto is put in charge of the school and is now an X-Men. Magneto has an era in the Hellfire Club, not from Stranger Things. It started as a political socialite club thing, so it has a lot of important connections. Magneto as a member worked out really well for the X-Men. It helped give them extra protection from attackers and access to government secrets. What hero wouldn't want that? Magneto hears that parts of his Asteroid M are scattered around Earth. Quest time, he is off to find them. The Avengers can't seem to accept that Magneto is trying to turn a new leaf and keep trying to get him. The X-Men keep saving him. Magneto reveals he equipped his helmet with tech to control any mind. But again, the leaf is turned, so he won't use it for bad. What he does use it for is his second trial in the World Court. He thinks that if the World Court were to execute him, that would start a human-mutant war, so he uses his helmet to make the judge acquit him. After this, Magneto destroyed it and was back back at the school. Later, Magneto left the school and the Hellfire Club, but he had prepared for it. He had rebuilt Asteroid M again. He returned to his villain ways because he felt he could never properly stand in for Professor X. During this era, he participated in acts of vengeance alongside other prominent villains. He also used that time to get close to and confront Red Skull, who you may recall as someone on the wrong side of World War II. He left the Red Skull in severe solitary confinement to reflect on the horrors he helped commit. Remember Magneto's origin and what he lived through at the start of his life? That is why. Magneto was ready to retire. He built a new orbital base and wanted to just live his life. No rest for the wicked. A new group of mutants showed up looking for him. They inspired Magneto to try again to make a mutant safe space. He tried to do it with Asteroid M. X-Men and many world governments said no. Pretty soon he starts up his war with humans and the X-Men again. The UN activated Magneto protocols. Do you know what you have to do to have the UN develop security protocols just for you? The protocol messes with Earth's magnetic field enough that Magneto can't use his powers on Earth. If he's off-world, he can't come back. Magneto's not happy, and he sends out a pulse wave so powerful it knocks out every electronic device on the Earth. Professor X stopped Magneto by shutting down his mind. Magneto's out of the game for a while until this guy named Joseph appears, claiming to be Magneto. He looks like a young Magneto, he's got the skill set, but it's not him because the real Magneto shows up later. Turns out that guy was a clone. Magneto briefly took over the Earth's magnetosphere to blackmail the UN into giving mutants a home. He got an island, but the people of that island fought back. Magneto won. He used a lot of power in that fight, so he was in recovery. While recovering, these things called Mega Centennials attacked and almost killed him, but they didn't. He was hidden away by his followers. The ideas of Magneto grew while he was away, and many mutants joined his side. They even had merch. While Magneto was MIA, this guy named Zorn showed up, pretended to be Magneto. Well, actually, he was Zorn pretending to be Magneto, pretending to be Zorn. Long story, we cover it in top 10 worst Marvel retcons we still can't believe if you want to check it out. The important thing is everyone thinks Magneto is dead by the end of it all. We have made it to Mutant M-Day. Scarlet Witch goes off the rails. She absolutely decimates the mutant population of Earth. Magneto, still alive, he just has no powers. Brief villain period, but soon joins the X-Men again. He gets framed for a crime in the middle of his redemption campaign. He was framed by Joseph, his clone. Joseph gets locked in X-Jail, done with that. The universe gets destroyed again, then restored. Magneto made a new Asteroid M and founded a new Brotherhood. He's consistent. We are at the creation of Krakoa, finally! Krakoa is the mutant safe haven Magneto always dreamed of. The governments liked Krakoa because mutants could use it to create cures for diseases. It's a win-win situation. Everything is going great. There is a Hellfire party and Magneto pulls Wanda aside. He tells her he will always be her father and it's super sweet. They hug it out. Forgot to mention, before in 2015 it was revealed that Wanda and Pietro were not actually Magneto's kids. Wanda creates a family curse. Magneto's unaffected, so that's what makes this moment in the 2021 feature extra sweet. Okay, back into it. Wanda drops during the conversation that she's going to bring everybody back who died, but to do that, she must die. Magneto is tasked with reviving her, and it works. We're almost there, everybody. One day, while Professor X and Magneto were in a meeting, they get a distress call from Moira. Remember her? Only when they get to her, she's not there, disappeared. What is there is villain Nimrod and soldiers. They battle, they actually die, but they are revived. The whole thing was stressful enough to make Magneto retire to a Rocco, so not really retirement. There was a big battle with the Eternal Uranus. He put up a fight, but ultimately didn't make it. Magneto I'm talking about. The perfect send-off for Magneto. One of the other, Eternals people turns into his first daughter, Anya, to wave him off as he dies, and I cried when I read this. I think I know more about Magneto than I do about myself. I do apologize if anything got switched, missed, or lost to Magneto history. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and make your mark on the comment section down below. Let me know your favorite Magneto moment. I know there was so much that I missed. This is Juliana, signing off. Bye!